Hey there, people. Shaman Hawk here for Shamanic Lodge. So, people will ask me sometimes, Hawk, do you do clearings? Maybe I need an exorcism in my place. Maybe I need a banishing and all this other stuff because I got spirits in my house. Like, oh, okay. Um, you mind if I ask you a couple questions? Sure, sure. Okay. What makes you think you got spirits in your house? Well, I got these strange things going on. I'll be standing there cooking at the stove, and all of a sudden I feel like there's somebody around me. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. So what else happens? You know, oh, that, you know, things will get just kind of like knocked off, or it'll get really cold in the house, for no reason, and it's summertime, and the AC's not on. Okay, okay, I'll get that. So, what else you got? You know, I'll have some strange dreams. I'll have thoughts that just aren't me, and I'm wondering if it's already entered my body. Okay. So, do you have any pets? Cats, dogs, things like that? Yeah. Okay. Um, do they bother them? I mean, do the pets or animals see anything? And this is where the answers can split apart. Okay. If they say, yeah, man, my cat will look over at the corner of the room and just bolt and be gone. You know, my dog will just like look up and do this and look at somebody. But I can't see anybody there. You know, so that I look at things like that and say, oh, okay, well that's a possibility because cats really don't like to deal with spirits. Cats are like look at it like, oh hell no, gone. Okay. Dogs look up at the spirits like, yo, bro, you got anything to eat? So that's how they see it. So with dogs, now if it's a bad spirit, dogs, they get ferocious. They'll come up to you, especially the chows, pit bulls, shepherds will usually back up to you to protect you. Where the little yappy purse dogs are like gone, they don't want to become like taco meat or something. So in that, and babies, you have any small children. And if they say, yeah, I got a toddler, it's in the crib, a few months old. If the baby wakes up in the middle of the night just with this loud scream, or if the baby just is moving, and they can't, like they're trying to get away, but they haven't learned how to flip over yet, yeah, that's a possibility. I'll take that. But as a general rule, if you can't, if the animals aren't affected and the babies aren't affected, but you're feeling things, all right, I'm going to say it's not a spirit, and I'm going to say though it can be a resonant, consonant, conscious energy that could have come from situations before that, and that takes us into the subject of programming. Okay. Now, when I talk about programming, I say that programming in the shamanic is like taking this, and programming it with an animate life signature. Okay. I'm reading something here. Okay. So, let's say this is my sponge sanding necklace, my shamanic amulet, and I wear it for a long time. Okay. Well, this thing's going to become programmed by my life force energy, my emotional energy signatures, and so on. So then, if someone else holds this, a good like a person in psychometry, a good psychic, a good empath, they would be able to tell you about me by holding this. Okay, so that, in other words, programming is somewhat similar to what we would call magnetism, for instance, where nickel, cadmium, and iron have free electrons, and it can be influenced by a magnet, and therefore a spoon can become magnetized. Well, I don't have an exact atomic explanation for the programming I'm explaining, but I got years and years of practical application, and I said, yeah, it does work. If you don't believe me, try it yourself. And I also say that because you could come back with information that I don't know, and then one of the cool things is you teach me something. So then how does that apply to what we think is spirits in the house compared to, not spirits in the house and programming? let's say you moved into a place that's like has a long history of domestic violence, all right, and you're just like in every full moon for some reason you notice you think the spirit comes back, but maybe just the pull. Now we're looking at astrophysics here, that the pull on the earth, moon, sun, all this is just kind of like really enhancing this energy somehow of the history of that place, and therefore affecting you because you have some underlying issues. Not saying it's a bad thing. It could be past life stuff that gets reactivated, childhood memories, all this, and then boom, now we have this like bigger connection happening. And then because of programming, social programming, movies, Hollywood, and all this other stuff, your first thing is like, I got some bad spirits in my house. So that's kind of like a practical application of it. Have I dealt with people? Oh, going back to that, how do you fix that? Well, you reprogram it. And I like to look at like in computers, you really don't delete anything. It's never really gone. They just kind of like put something over it. That's why they have ghost programs to go get stuff that's deleted. And so to reprogram the area, it's kind of like having a stain on a wall. You're going to go ahead and basically clean it up the best you can. I mean, some people want to bring down the white light and sage, but I really like to do it with the energy signature of a person. And then you're going to go ahead and reprogram it and just have, parties, have watch funny movies and all this other good stuff. The problem that I'm really seeing in the metaphysical arena, the new age scene, is that people think that they have this spirit that's really not. It could be programming, and then boom, all the other alleged professionals come in there and they're doing all this stuff. Because one of the questions that I ask people is like, well, have you had anybody else try to work with your home, your business, or whatever, and what happened? They said, yeah, I've had all kinds of shamans, wizards, and witches come in here, and nobody can seem to do anything. They can't run the spirit out. Well, that's even more of a confirmation that A, they probably didn't know what they were doing, and B, it's not a spirit, all right? It's that other energy signature that has a conscious resonance to it, and so you're not going to be able to push it out. You have to treat it as something completely different. So now, if you do have the spirits, I have worked with those situations, and this whole thing about we're going to help spirits cross to the other side. What did spirits do before New Agers were helping them cross over the other side? I mean, there must be a backload of work here, right? So we cross over just fine. There are instances though where a type of trauma can happen and the person is just kind of really confused. It's like, I try to talk to people and I get no response. They really don't know that they're dead, kind of thing. So in that part, you're going to, yeah, it's a communication effort. It's an explanation. It's kind of like, hey, look, here's the deal. There's a type of mediumship that's almost like a past life regression where you're doing it with a spirit to kind of go back a little bit. This can be a very touchy and borderline dangerous situation for the person doing it, like the medium. Very, very few people are really good at this. It's definitely not my specialty, and I don't have enough practice, even close in those areas, to even want to venture into that, because it's that much of a potentially dangerous situation. So I really wouldn't recommend it to the everyday person. So with my thing, I can go back into interdimensional regressions and then look at the situation of that location and see if something happened in that location that could have killed that person, and so on. Empaths are really good at these situations. I'll give you an example of an empathic situation like that. Is that one time I went to a place and this woman had all this furniture up against this door of this room. And I'm like, that really doesn't stop spirits, right? All this furniture piled up. And she's like, I know, but it made me feel good. Like, okay. I said, well, I have to remove this stuff to go into the room. I'm not going to be here. Cool. See ya. So I moved all the furniture and I'm standing there in the doorway into this next room. And I do this in segments, okay? So I open the door, I'm standing at the doorway, and I'm just kind of like standing with my arms by my side, and then one arm just comes up, the other arm comes up, and I allow my body to work with this stuff. And then I just really grabbing the door, really grabbing the frame of the door, you know, like this. And I remember swinging, and my body's doing this, you know, and then I'm just like, I was coughing, I was choking, I was getting dizzy. I was like, whoa, this is strange, you know. And then I felt my arms go down, and then I just felt like, oh, this is where she hung herself. Okay? So this is where you can have an empathic situation to where you're really experiencing the death of the other person, you know, in the language sequence of sensations and pictures and stuff like that. So I'm like, well, the lady that lived here, you know, she's really going to love this one, right? So you have to really explore these situations when you explain this stuff to people so you don't like freak them out. And so I took a while for me to gradually lead up to this, feeling like, what do you believe in? Do you believe in spirit? Blah, blah, blah. And then told her the situation. And yeah, she just went white as a paper towel. Okay. So in that case, yeah. But the reason that she was having that is the two of them looked a lot alike. You know, the spirit of the woman that hung herself, and then the other one that lived in the house then. Was that her in the past? I don't know. She didn't want me to come back. She wanted to move. It would have been an interesting study for further regressions, you know. Just because she looked like the woman that I saw in that vision doesn't mean they were the same, you know. Is it possible that I transposed the living person onto what I saw in the vision? Yes. Now notice the way that I'm looking at all the other possibilities in this, okay? Notice that I'm not making any absolutes, okay? So because I don't know for an absolute fact, I do know what I experienced, you know, and I'm sure some therapists was like, well, that didn't really happen, that's you, blah, blah, all right, whatever, you know. So those are the things, this is a huge field. I mean, I've given weekend workshops on this where like 8 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday. It's such a huge topic that you really just can't cover in one quick video or a quick session and lecture. Ooh, rush hour with the Wall Street Hornets. So, yeah, if you got any more questions like that, you can leave comments on the video. You can give me an email on shamaniclodge@gmail.com, you know, and I try to do more of these videos and so on. I'm going to be putting more stuff on my blog. I'm just so busy these days. And my blog and website is blueplanetshaman.com. You know, thanks to Eli Glesvalle of constructing that for me. And that's about it. I gotta get back to farm work, boat building, and all that other good stuff. Catch you guys later.